Jean Grey's and Wolverine's relationship is still bad, as Captain Logan points out, because it is again barely developed and because Wolverine again talks very lightly to Jean Grey and acts really immature, while on the other hand acting like this is true love, making it a very inconsistent and annoying relationship. But Magneto is really deep in this. We again see he's an intellectual, arrogant, manipulative, violent, prejudiced, power-hungry, and also vengeful, playful, controlling, manipulative, dishonest, angry word. And we also see more of his relationship with Xavier. We see Xavier really understands him and that he understands Xavier because he knows why he doesn't tell Wolverine the truth, but he also sees him as a more flawed person than he will admit to himself, thinking that this is for selfish reasons. And we see he feels guilty for betraying them to Stryker, even though he opposes Xavier. He would want to protect him from the humans, as Xavier is his kind. This is really realistic. He sees Xavier as his opponent, but as a respectful one, as he is one of his kind, and he sees humans as the true enemy. And also we see he read the same book Xavier teaches, The Once Future King, reflecting how they are both intellectuals with the same taste. But we now also see that at first he's captured and that the humans torture him and he only becomes more hateful. And then he finds out they want to wipe out all humans and he thinks the war started, and he now changes from wanting to take over and protecting the mutants to wanting to kill all the humans, thinking of them as less worthy now and becoming a lot more hateful and sadistic, thinking they want to destroy the mutants without exception and wanting to take revenge and thinking they no longer deserve to live. And he becomes sadistic and destructive. He kills people for fun. And he leaves Stryker to die horribly. And he now thinks of all the humans as insects and gets Pyro to join him and now wants to kill all of the humans. And he becomes worse, betrays Xavier, even feeling nostalgic to their old friendship while doing so. And he's very harsh on Stryker once again, leaving him to die horribly. This is due to Stryker, who is also a deep villain. So Magneto is a Jew, but he makes great YouTube poops nonetheless. So I love him. We are BFFs for life. It is so sweet. Stryker, as Captain Logan points out, is a human version of Magneto. Magneto is cruel towards humans because they were cruel to him, and he fears their fear will lead them to want to destroy the mutants and want to abuse them, and that they think they are better than them. And he, on the other hand, thinks the mutants are better than the humans, and Stryker fears this fear of Magneto because he fears that Magneto's and the mutants' fear for them will cause them to destroy them, and he thinks the humans are better than the mutants. So this is fear for the fear of him. And this fear will lead Magneto to want to destroy all humans. And he, for this reason, wants to destroy all the mutants. And it is cruel because mutants mistreated him, that he becomes very sadistic towards them and becomes very generalizing like Magneto. So it is a loop. Both sides confirm what they hate of each other, and Stryker, the human monster, makes Magneto even more of a monster. Stryker is really deep also. He's vengeful, cruel, and also really detached from sentience and simply seeing mutants as pets, experimenting on them, brainwashing them and torturing them. He's arrogant and mean-spirited and very loathing, seeing Wolverine as simply an experiment. And seeing his son and all mutants as dead, and he is prejudiced and violent, and he has a realistic backstory. His son was a mutant, and he wanted to help him have a better life. And his son didn't want to be a mutant and saw himself as being a freak. And he went to Xavier's school, but he couldn't be helped to feel better, and he came to resent his parents, invading their minds, causing Stryker's wife to take a power drill to her own temple, meaning his son came to hate him due to being a mutant, uses his mutant powers against him and his wife, killing his wife. So he saw his son kill his wife, which was traumatic and made him see all mutants as monsters. Mystique is also really deepened in this film. We see she's really sneaky and adventurous, enjoying spying, and that she's sadistic, enjoying hurting people, and is really faithful in the cause, never doubting it, and she's really manipulative. Also we see, like Magneto, she respects the mutants as honorable opponents, that she doesn't want to betray them to the humans when she tells them that the mansion is just a school. And she's also arrogant and mean-spirited, flipping her middle finger to Stryker's soldiers, and also a group thinker, wanting to be with Wolverine once he's a part of the group, and she's really loyal, and we see there is a relationship between her and Magneto. He knew her plan, and they laugh and smile together, and he admires her. They really trust and care for each other. And when Stryker is killing all the mutants, she yells, "Eric, hurry!" She calls him by his first name, which is of course very personal, because they always use their titles amongst each other. And this is the same as Wolverine did to Rogue. That was very subtle and smart. And so she even really shows a vulnerable side of herself, which she normally never does. And she also often acts aroused around him, and he around her. So there's probably a real relationship between the two of love. And then we have Pyro. Captain Logan says it is done very well, and that it is too bad Anakin Skywalker's fall to the dark side couldn't have been handled this well. But I don't see how that was bad. That was a great character study. We saw his arrogance, his rebelliousness towards Obi-Wan, being triggered by Obi-Wan being too critical and him having too much power since he was young, and his fear of death, and his lust for power, and how Palpatine slowly fed these corrupt traits, and how he lost his mother, making him really depressed and vulnerable. And he was really likable, doing heroic things like saving Padme from the bugs, risking his life, arresting a dangerous assassin, saving Padme from a monster in the arena, commanding the clones, saving Obi-Wan from the bus droids, saving Palpatine from being tied to a chair, saving Palpatine from the droids, etc. Yeah, that was off the point, but at least I explained my claim, and at least I was right, as I always am. I'm so wonderful. Anywho, back to this film. Pyro is really deep. We see he's violent, arrogant, cocky, aggressive, and awkward but caring, and confused and stressed. And we see he does care for his friends, helping them get Rogue, and going with them to save Wolverine, but at the same time is very violent, quickly picking fights, and has a trouble following Xavier's teachings. He tries to be a good student, but is too violent and cocky. That is actually strongly inspired by Anakin Skywalker in the Star Wars prequels. Also strongly inspired by Anakin Skywalker in the Star Wars prequels is that he's very awkward, creating noise, not liking uncomfortable silences, and then that he feels jealous of someone else with his own family. And then, once people hurt him once, he loves his constantly built up anger, which he was constantly building up over the course of the film due to feeling alone and due to seeing people around him getting hurt more and more. He now totally releases it all at once, destroying people sadistically. Very similar once again to how Anakin all of a sudden unleashed all of his anger on the Sand people. Also similar is how Magneto tempts him by acting like he's really good and feeding his ego, telling him he's great, and his violence and arrogance is alright, telling him what he wants to hear. Then he decides to join evil, to become stronger and gain power and bring destruction. He's a very complex, dark, tragic character also. He's indeed an immense improvement over Sabretooth and Toad. Deathstrike is indeed an empty, underdeveloped, terrible character. She is just vicious but not very important to the film overall, so this isn't all the big a deal. It isn't a really big problem. The film is also really thematically deep. We have many of the same themes, but they are explored deeper, and many new themes are added. We again have the theme that hostility and intolerance is in human nature, which we now see more detailedly. The Striker convincing the president to arrest innocent mutants and to send the police after them, showing the government itself is now hunting down innocent people. We again see how this can make innocent people the victims, as how now children are captured and innocent mutants are experimented upon, and this causes mutants to then hurt the police, because Pyro feels hurt, and we see a new side, in that Stryker uses mutants as pets because of it, because of how much he hates them, because they hurt him, and even abuses his own son, showing it can drive families apart, and cause people to treat people as tools. And we see Stryker almost wants to annihilate the whole race, that it even leads to people like Cyclops being forced to turn against their friends. Cyclops is forced to hurt the people he cares about due to being manipulated and brainwashed, and this almost leads to the start of a war. And that even Iceman's his family judges him really shows just how judgmental people can be, and how they can really make people feel depressed, like they don't belong anywhere. Luckily, I don't have this problem. They are on vacation. And we see the solution is only taking out those we really need to because of their own actions, and explaining the dangers and making people understand we need to respect other humans their rights. And this is a really wise theme, as indeed people's families even are often judgmental when they are different, and this makes them feel like they don't belong anywhere. And people often even abuse their own family when they feel as though they're abominations, and people are often through threatening and manipulation forced to hurt their loved ones. Humans have often come to view others as pets. And if we simply respect others and take out those we don't, we can be at peace. And excuse me, I'm gonna vomit now. We again see how hatred and fear only lead to further escalation. By Stryker opposing all the mutants and trying to kill them, he risks genocide. It causes Magneto to torture people and to want to kill all the humans and to even torture him. and to escape and for the X-Men to help him. And then the president almost allows all of this to happen because he's scared. And friends are forced to betray each other. And it causes even horrible, painful sacrifices like that of Jean Grey. And it causes the innocent to get caught in the crossfire once again. We see Magneto, while being tortured, just keeps hating and just tortures Stryker back. And it is openness that creates peace, and we see it even causes the X-Men to work together with Magneto, and it leads to the innocent people being arrested, and as a result of the mutants getting hurt, people like Pyro freaking out and hurting the police. And that it really hunts people forever, like it did with Wolverine. People are turned into monsters, like with Lady Deathstrike. This is again wise, as cruelty in humans often only creates cruelty in a response. People often allow the innocent to get hurt out of fear, and the stakes only get bigger and bigger, and often suffering only creates more hatred. We again see by Wolverine being lonely and confused due to his amnesia that lack of identity can make us lonely and confused. We now see by his friends comforting him when he can't sleep, and him seeing that he still cares about Rogue, and him fighting with them and saving them, and Stryker, who has the answers for him, being evil and only causing him to be corrupted more, that friends can help us become happy and warm again, and that those with charming promises, if they don't care about us, will only hurt us more. And we see friends can advise us, but also give us a purpose, and that they need us as well. And it is better to have a purpose than become aimless. We quickly become aggressive, and we see that they truly can allow us a new life. And if cruelty is an easy answer, it will just make us more empty, and it can cause us to lose track of the here and now. This is a really smart theme, as indeed friends give us a purpose, and often when you're focused on hatred, it distracts you from love. When you're aimless, you can do crazy things, and when you're with friends, you can also advise them and make a difference. Yes, making a difference is what matters, like bribing a guy to throw 100 lifeboats off the Titanic halfway. And we can see with Magneto that wait, I need to explain this to you. You're probably wondering, how did you know the Titanic was gonna sink? Well, you see, I can see into the future, and you're probably wondering how. Well, I'm the son of the devil! And we see again with Magneto that intolerance and hatred can drive good friends apart, which is deepened by how much he cares for Xavier and how similar they are. We see they understand each other and that Magneto advises him, yet due to his obsession with revenge, he uses Xavier when it hurts him to do so. When the X-Men want to help him, we see now they actually really still have common goals for the mutants, but Magneto generalizes too much, and as a result wants to do unacceptable things. This is also a wise theme, as indeed even when someone comforts us, if they want to destroy innocent people, we have to stop him. And if that person becomes aggressive, then we have to fight him. We now have the new theme that sometimes our past is corrupted, and we need to let go of it. Wolverine discovers he worked for the evil Stryker, and he attempts to join him for answers, but he says goodbye to his evil past and joins his friends. He is obsessed with his past, and it causes him to forget what he has in the here and now and what purpose he has here. And that he now has people who can support him and that he can support. That he shouldn't at all give in to a corrupt past, because his friends are even willing to risk their lives to prevent him from doing so.